Greetings, everyone. My name is Sustainable Shane, and I am your local expert in sustainability. So I specialize in just like making your lifestyle choices more sustainable. Think about everything from like exchanging like little tricks and stuff at your house to make it more sustainable. And then I met Alexa, and we realized that sustainability and mental health actually have a lot in common. And a couple things that we really realized where mental health and sustainability intersect is with the sustainable diet. Eating healthy and eating a more sustainable diet can actually, well, it will affect the health of your gut. And you guys are probably familiar with the term "go with your gut," right? Well, that term actually, it's there, it's said for a reason, because the health of your gut really affects the health of your mind. And so when you eat well, eat less meat and eat a more balanced and colorful diet, then your gut's functioning better and you're actually able to make more educated decisions and have actions that really do have a more positive impact on your life. And that really can happen with just eating more of a sustainable diet. So we came to that conclusion. And we've also found that being a part of something bigger is one of the best ways to live like a healthier and a more positive life. And personally for me, my part of living and being a part of something bigger is like being a bigger part of our planet and recognizing the fact that my everyday actions have impacts, and being able to recognize impacts on our planet and see that I want to have a positive impact when my time does come to leave this planet. I want to know that like I had a positive impact on it, and that I made the land healthier, and that I made healthier connections with people and animals and plants. And that's all part of being something bigger, being a part of a bigger community, something larger. So that is like totally in your garden, having a little compost bin, or just digging your hands through the soil. I am absolutely confident that it will make your life, it will slow down the pace of your life. Like watching a plant grow, going out and checking on your plants. It's like raising a child or raising a dog with a whole lot less effort, but a lot of the reward. So like watching your little, like for me, when I watch, right now I'm growing a bromeliad, and it's slowly been blooming over the past 3 weeks. And the flower is like slowly getting larger and larger and larger and more red. And I look forward to it. Every night I walk out and check out my little bromeliad plant, and I look at the little insects walking around, and I water it, and just like little things like that. And it really does slow down my life, and it helps me to just like stay present and be in the moment, which is an aspect of mental health and sustainability. So thanks everyone for being on here. And I really hope that you guys are living a healthy and a sustainable life. And if you guys have any questions or comments or concerns, feel free to reach out to me. I'm a super approachable guy. So just feel free to reach out, talk to me, chat, whatever. And thanks so much, Alexa, for creating this space.
Thank you, Shane. I know I loved like when we had our talk on my podcast, like I just thought it was so cool to like thinking of sustainability and like mental health, because that's just something you don't necessarily think of, but it really does have a huge impact.
Totally.
So, thank you. And you ended up having great connections, so it worked. We are now going to move into Jessica Moloney, our counselor and empowerment coach.
Hello, hi, how is everybody? Good, I hope. Yeah, I know it's so weird, right, that we're doing this on a computer. But yes, my name is Jessica Maloney. I'm a licensed mental health counselor in New York. I'm also an empowerment coach and motivational speaker. And I think that we can all probably relate to feeling something, whether it be anxiety, sadness, depression, stress. The last year and a half has definitely led to a pretty significant increase of some of the things that we've seen forever. I mean, anxiety disorders are the most common mental health diagnosis that we see. There's like 40 million adults And those are just the ones that report having anxiety, right? So over, again, the pandemic, this is exacerbated, and there are probably people out there that are not talking about it and just feeling it. And it's one of those things that I think we've all felt it, but then to have a diagnosable anxiety disorder, it makes things very, very much more challenging. And depression is something that goes hand in hand with that. And it's something that I've struggled through myself. So being able to feel it and talk about it, I think it's really powerful that we can bring it to light now, because for so long it was something that people didn't want to talk about. They didn't want to admit about, and I think a big part in being able to help yourself through it, because I'm a huge advocate of, self-care and therapy and being able to help yourself before it comes to a place of necessarily needing medication. I think that self-love and self-care are huge components. There's a great quote by Lucille Ball that I like. She says, "Love yourself first and everything else falls into place." You really have to love yourself to get anything done in this world. And that quote really just spoke to me, because everything that we do, it starts with us. It starts with the thoughts that we have in our head. And then it transitions into the feelings that those thoughts create. And then from there, we go into action. We go into the steps that take us forward, or we go into the steps that either keep us where we are or potentially bring us backwards. The way the brain is wired and the way that we think about things is fascinating to me. And I've only recently kind of learned about the reticular activation system. Anybody know what that is? Oh, this will be fun. So there's this thing in your brain, right? So have you ever thought about the things that you think about? The average person has about 75,000 thoughts a day. 91% of them are identical to the thoughts that you had yesterday, and the day before that, and the day before that. So your measure of success is only 9% different than it was yesterday. So these 9% of the thoughts that come in are triggered by like the things that happen in our day, right? You got an email, you have a meeting tomorrow, or you have to study for a test tomorrow, or you're going to start thinking about these things. But what if you took 1% of that 9% and you started telling yourself what you want to think about? You started programming your brain to think more positively, more truthfully. Like a lot of my clients, who are stuck in very negative cycles, they're like, well, I just can't think positive. And I say, you don't have to, but you have to think truthfully. You have to think honestly about yourself. That you don't have to look in the mirror and say, I love myself if you're not feeling that. But there's got to be something true that you can see in that reflection. That the reticular activation system is the filter in your mind that filters in the things that your brain thinks is important to you. So the 91% of your thoughts, if they're negative, if they're self-defeating, your brain automatically thinks that those are important because it's what you're thinking about every day. So you can change the narrative. Uh-oh, did I freeze? Oh. You can change just, sorry, did I freeze?
I think you're good now.
Sorry. I don't know what the last part is that you heard, but if you can change just a little bit of the way that you think, if you can just make it a little bit more truthful, a little bit more honest, think like 1% every day, think about how that transitions, think about how that builds up. So the message is that you're in control, whether you feel it or not right now, but it takes time to reprogram. So start filtering in the things that you want to be important to you, because you're the first line of defense. And then look at all these people around you to support you right now. So as the last speaker said, if anybody wants to talk more about this, I'm definitely open for it. And I wish you all health and wealth and freedom in the future. Thanks for letting me speak.
Thank you so much, Jess. I loved what you had to say. I think it is so important. And I know Zach talks a lot about like the 1%, like doing 1% better every day. So he can even say something on that, because I remember that was your thing.
Absolutely. Yeah, the small micro wins consistently executed over time amount to massive results. And if you can just change the narrative, like Jessica said, and be a little more conscious about your thoughts and think about what you're thinking about, to cultivate more self-awareness of your positive or negative feedback loops that you're telling yourself in your head, because your thoughts create your emotions, and your emotions are super important. And that was awesome, Jessica. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Can I add one more thing onto that? So the idea of the 1%, I really love it. And somebody told me not too long ago that if you can do something, if you can take care of yourself for 14 minutes a day, it's equivalent to only 1% of your day. Because when somebody first told me that, I was like, I don't have 14 minutes to waste. Like, are you kidding me? Like, but if you tell me it's 1% of my entire day, it changed my whole perspective. So I wanted to just share that with you too.
Well, I literally just wrote that down because that's actually like it like makes it seem like nothing. Like that 1%, like almost like that 14 minutes almost makes it feel like it's, if you can change 1% of your life, like that's pretty cool. So I'm actually writing that down. So thank you.
Yeah, I gave myself a huge guilt trip about not doing something for 14 minutes because it's only 1% of your day.
Well, thank you. And also for Shane and Jessica, feel free, and then any of our other speakers too, feel free to put any of your information you guys want for anyone, if they want to like see you, your website, what you do, anything, feel free to put in the chat. But yeah, so thank you again, Jess. And we are now going into Garrett Powell, who is on Bachelorette 15, also known as Hannah Brown season.
Hey everyone, first off, my internet is very sketchy, so apologies in advance. But yes, I'm Garrett Powell from Birmingham, Alabama. I guess my strongest expertise in life is technically the golf swing. I'm a golf professional, so I don't have quite the mental health background that everyone else has, but I've been through the thick and thin here recently. And so as far as mental health goes, I would say my recent exposure or expertise would be dealing with your own ego and dealing with habit formulation. And, you know, a little backtrack on me is that, you know, I didn't pursue the reality TV life, didn't pursue all the stuff that went down, was very blown away by it in positive standpoint and negative standpoint. Didn't know what to expect with anything. And I didn't handle fame very well. And I paid a lot of attention to what other people said about me and completely disregarded the way I felt about myself. And I put so much weight in what others said that my ego fought itself. And I had to keep constantly thinking that, no, I got to prove these people wrong or show people that I'm this way. When in reality, I mean, it's how you feel about yourself, kind of like what Jessica said, is very, very crucial, but you have to be honest with yourself too. And any way that you see your life might need to take a change for the better, you have to become aware of your own, you know, BS that you feed yourself or bad habits. And so in my way, I had a lot of bad habits, both internally and externally, that kind of showed me I was going down the wrong road. Right. So, you know, the other speaker talked about, you know, taking care of flowers. So I have a flower bed in my backyard. And I noticed after a long period of time that, you know, I stopped taking care of it. You know, all the plants were dying out there. I noticed that my environment, even my room, my townhouse I live in, my car was getting more messy and more messy and more messy. And regarding habit formulation, you have to realize that your environment plays a huge part in your mental health. If your environment is very messy, very cluttered, and you don't really have, you know, a purpose in life, or even a purpose in your home, then you're not going to be heading down the right road, or you're already there most likely. And that's where I caught myself. You know, I had one event where I didn't handle a critic correctly at all on Instagram. I said something very bad. And, you know, it was a result of this kind of downhill snowball effect where, like, at nighttime, I was sacrificing sleep for like reading comments or like drinking or like just staying up, like thinking about all these negative things that were going on. And it happens to so many people. But you have to understand that, you know, you have to put your worth in what you think about yourself. And, you know, whether you're a Christian or not a Christian, that's fine either way, but it helps to have your worth in something bigger, right? So that way, when people are going to say whatever they're going to say, you can do whatever you want to do. But people are always going to say something negative. There's always going to be those people out there, and you can't stop them. And if you try to stop them, then that's where you get in trouble, right? And so it all kind of ties in. I'm rambling here, but you have to be strong in who you are. You have to know who you are and really love yourself for who you are, love your flaws, and understand that you can fix those while you love them, but also recognize that you're a great person, right? And you don't need their validation because you know who you are. And then to follow that up, back your mental health up with your habits. Have a purpose, not only out in the world, but at home. Wake up early, make sure your room is squared away. One thing that I do every morning is make up my bed. It seems very, very small and insignificant, but you wake up every morning, make sure your bed's tidy. You'd be amazed how the rest of your day is going to follow. So just have stuff. Habit formulation is huge. Create good habits and understand that you are enough and you don't need anybody else's opinions. And I'm not an expert at all, but that's just me going through the fire. That's what I have to say about that. And Alexa, really appreciate you hosting me, and everyone else, thanks for coming.
So I just have to say thank you. Thank you for all of what you said. Honestly, my parents taught me that actually at a younger age, and I'm finally just starting to pick up on it, the making your bed every day. I actually feel unorganized if I don't. So I also notice if there's days I'm kind of all over the place, things get messier, and I actually feel more anxiety. What you were saying about sometimes you notice things get messier, or so I completely am on the same side. And I understand. Yeah. So, but thank you for sharing your story and being vulnerable and just sharing your mental health, because it's so important, because everybody, no matter if you've been on TV or if you're a professional or whoever you may be, we all struggle.
Yeah. And kind of, if I can add something onto that too, it's the fact is I knew I had a problem for months. But again, going back to the ego is, born in Alabama, supposed to be this Southern tough man. I was no, that's weak to feel this way. You don't want to be weak. The fact is it's not weak, right? Especially in today's day and age, it's not weak, and I needed help. And once I finally dumped my ego and understood that I was in a bad place and I needed help, and I sought out therapy for it, it helped. And I'm used to be the most anti-therapy guy you ever met. But you have to understand that if you need help, ask for help. There are people out there willing to help you. Yeah.
So thank you. That was great. And it is important. And it's just even to ask for help in any way. It doesn't, if you're not ready for therapy, it could just be asking help from a family member, a friend, just someone in your support network.
Agree.
So thank you. And now we're going to end with Kelly Houseman, our mental health counselor. And then you guys, if anyone wants to speak after she's done, feel free to put your name in the chat, and I will start opening it up to everybody. So thanks again, Garrett.
All right. Hey, everybody. It is unbelievable to think that I feel like there's an echo, so forgive my audio. I feel like this is the year of technology glitches. It's interesting to think that we are almost halfway through the year. And as a therapist at the beginning of the year, I was hearing so much about resolutions and how this was going to be everyone's year. And we get so motivated in January. And then all of a sudden, I never have heard the word resolution again, probably past January 31st. But I continue to remind people we still have a lot of life to live in this year, and maybe we can come back to those resolutions that we made at the beginning of the year. A lot of what I heard was people wanted to focus on their mental and physical health, which is amazing. And so perhaps we make the rest of 2021, the theme of the year can be, let's talk about it. And as someone had mentioned in the chat a little bit ago, and I love how Garrett was opening up with his experience in therapy, just being able to, that's literally my profession. I talk for a living, I listen for a living, I love this stuff, but I hear all the time how people are afraid to talk about what they're feeling. And this doesn't necessarily mean something major. It can just be admitting that you are stressed out, or being a parent is really hard for you, or you're suffering with insecurities or low self-esteem. And all of the time I hear, I'm afraid to talk about this because people are going to think I'm weird. I'm going to be the only one that feels this way. I'm embarrassed to admit this, but I always use the analogy. It's like a boiling pot on a stove. If you had to have a lid on it, what's going to happen? If you hold all that stuff in, it's eventually going to burst and overflow. And humans are exactly the same. So I am definitely team venting. I promise, as therapists, and probably a lot of your friends too, like, we've heard it all before. Nothing really surprises me. And I'm always surprised to tell people like, hey, I've heard this before. You are not alone. So our society does not encourage us to open up about our shortcomings. We are often told to look perfect, act perfect, be perfect, show social media how perfect you are. But I promise nobody is perfect. And the more we can actually talk about what's bothering us is just such a weight lifted off our shoulders. And look, like this venting, this talking about things, it can definitely be with a therapist in therapy, with a life coach, with a friend, with your mom, I don't care, but just getting it out of your head and into the universe has such a weightlifting power on it. Throw it down in your journal, type it out. Even just the simple act of saying it out loud, or writing it down and checking stuff off and, okay, it's out of my head, can be huge. Also the mind-body link, physical body, there is such a direct link between what you're eating, how much you're moving your body, and your mental health too. And so look, we have one shot at this life. We have one body. We need to start kind of giving our body a little bit of respect. And also too, going back to the thing where I say, like, let's talk about it. If something's not right in your body, speak up. So many times I hear clients and friends saying, oh, I just don't feel good. But maybe the doctor blows off their pain or just kind of dismisses it. You're your own health advocate. And if your doctor is not listening to you, find someone else who will. Because again, we have one body, one shot at this life. Let's take care of our physical health as well. And then finally, to wrap things up, this has been on everyone's mind. We are spending more time at home on social media. I know I've been on social media more than ever because, quite frankly, I'm bored. And what else is there to do when you can't go out and hang out with your friends? We're just scrolling through. So kind of speaking up for yourself on social media too. And maybe that means logging off when you start comparing yourself or getting imposter syndrome, unfollowing. The best thing I say when people are like, how can I break my social media addiction? I say, just look up. When you're noticing feelings that are like that coming up, look up and ask yourself, what is real to me right now? So when I start scrolling through and I start seeing people and I start comparing myself, I always say like, okay, what do I need to focus on that's real? So I look up, my children are real. I make eye contact with them. I give them a hug. I look at my husband. I get back into my work or my notes that I'm doing. I get back into real life and the real people, places, and things that matter to me, and kind of logging off social media can be huge for your mental health too. I get it. It's an escape. Again, I love it. I hate it at the same time. Just using it wisely can be a big boost for mental health. So thank you all for listening and spending your Thursday night with us. This was incredible. And thank you guys for putting this on again. And hopefully it will be back soon. Hopefully this is not goodbye forever, just for now.
Thanks so much, Callie. I'm sure it won't be. I think it's just like with summer coming, people, it's better to be outside for your mental health than being on the computer. So
I like it.
Yes. And I agree with you with social media. Sometimes I just want to like throw my phone across the room. Mm-hmm. Or like, I know I've gotten like that, like jealous feeling, like seeing other people doing stuff, but you don't know what they're actually like feeling and thinking. Mm-hmm. And I just have to say one last thing, and then we'll open it up to anyone else that wants to talk. But I loved what you said about being our own advocate. Most of you know my story with chronic pain, and I learned that the hard way. But yes, you are your own advocate. We know more even than doctors. But I just want to say thank you for saying that.
Of course. Yeah. You know your mind, your body better than anyone. You're the one living it. So if you're feeling pain, if you're feeling discomfort, if you're feeling mental stress, it's real to you. And so finding someone that can acknowledge that and with respect and listen to you is so important.
So thank you guys again to all of our speakers. If any of our speakers, if you haven't put any of your information, feel free to put it in our chat. And honestly, if any of you guys want to like connect on Instagram or anywhere, feel free to put whatever you want in our chat and we can all be a community together. This is our time now, since all of our speakers have went. So if anyone wants to share a story or have a question for somebody, feel free to put your name in and I will go according.
Can I say something?
Yeah, go for it.
Garrett, I just want to say I want to empathize a lot with you about your experience on and post reality TV. I was on Below Deck. Wow, was it one of the most mind-bending experiences being off the show and listening to what people had to say, both positive and negative. I don't want to get super deep into it. It even took me going out to the desert and camping alone with like no technology for 24 hours because I was like, I just need to get away from everything. So I just want to let you know that like you're not alone in this, and I applaud you for like seeking out therapy even when your ego is telling you no. So you're absolutely right. Dropping that ego is one of the most important things we can do in our lives.
Thanks, man. Thanks for saying that.
All right, well, I think that's actually it. So I just want to say thank you guys again for everyone that has been a part of this. We're just taking a little break. We'll be back, I'm sure. But thank you to our speakers. And I also just want to say thank you to Zach. You've been an amazing co-host and partner. And I don't know what I would have done without you during this whole crazy year. It's been crazy to just like how we met, and it's been a lot of fun. And I'm just very appreciative of you.
Oh, thanks, Lex. I appreciate that. This has been a good time, and we've had amazing speakers throughout, amazing speakers tonight, and it's nice to hear everyone else's story, and you've been doing a great job hosting, so thank you to you as well.
Well, thank you. And all right, guys, well, we will be back. I'm sure we'll be back at some point, but just you'll see us on Mental Health Collection with Level Exa and then Zach Rance. So all right, guys, if there's anyone, we have some stuff in the chat, so feel free to just take a look, and this will be posted next week. So you should be able to see the full video. Bye, guys.
Awesome. See y'all.